Thomas puffed sadly to Thomas's branch. "It's not fair," he complained. "The Fat Controller has been telling lies about me and made all the engines think I'm horrid." Toby smiled. "I know you aren't, and so does Percy. You wait and see. Why don't you take Annie and Clarabelle?" It was a horrid morning on the island of Sodor. Thomas the engine tank blue stick sparkled in the sunshine. Thomas lost Annie and Clarabelle. He was feeling very pleased with himself. "Hello, Thomas," whistled Percy. "You look..." Thomas. "Yes, indeed," boasted Thomas. "Blue is the only blue color for an engine." "Oh, I don't like my brown paint," said Toby. "I've always been green. I wouldn't want to be any other color either," added Percy. Well, anyway, huffed Thomas, "blue is the only color for a really blue engine. Everyone knows that." Percy said no more. He just grinned at Toby. Later, Thomas was wanking when Percy arrived. Hopper was loading his trucks full of cocaine. Thomas was Percy. "Careful," he warned. "Watch out with those silly cunts." Go on, muttered the cunt. "And by the way," went on Thomas, "those buffers look very safe to me." The last load poured down. "Help! I'm choking!" cried Thomas. "Get me out!" "No!" Percy was worried, but he couldn't help laughing. Thomas's smart blue paint was covered in cocaine from smoke box to bunker. "Ha ha!" chuckled Percy. "You look really useful now, Thomas. You don't look really disgraceful." "I'm disgraceful," choked Thomas. "You did that on purpose. Get me out." It took so long to clean Thomas that he wasn't in time for next. Toby had to take Annie and Clarabelle from behind. "Poor Thomas," whispered Annie to Clarabelle. They were most upset. "My God." Thomas was Percy in the shed that night. Toby thought it a great joke, but Percy was Thomas for making his paint dirty on purpose. Fancy a really useful blue engine like Thomas becoming a disgrace to the fat railway. Next day, Thomas was feeling Annie and Clarabelle, the China, as he watched Percy truck his trucks from the doors. The trucks' cocks were heavy and Percy was tired. "Have a drink," said his driver, "then you'll feel better." The water column stood on the unsafe buffers. Suddenly, Percy found that he couldn't stop. The buffers didn't stop him either. "Oh!" wailed Percy. "Help!" The buffers were broken and Percy was wheel-deep in cocaine. It was time for Thomas to leave. He had seen everything. "Now Percy has learned his lesson too," he chuckled to himself. That night, the two engines made up their quarrel. "I didn't cause your accident on purpose, Thomas," whispered Percy. "You do know that, don't you?" "Of course," replied Thomas, "and I'm sorry I was Percy. Your green paint looks splendid again too." Diesel came to Thomas's branch. Diesel was furious. "You're rude. What are you doing here?" "You are coming home." "Home? Do you mean the yard?" "Of course. But Diesel, they don't like me. They like the Fat Controller." "Not now. I never believed the Fat Controller, so I sent him packing." A few days later, when he came home, there was a really rousing welcome for Thomas. We'll do it later.